President Trump winning the Iowa caucus on the Republican side amid the Democrat debacle this morning. My next guest is in Des Moines this morning, acting as a caucus surrogate on behalf of the president. Joining me right now is Louisiana Congressman, House Minority Whip Steve Scalise. And Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning, Maria. Great to be with you.
First, you're on the ground. Give us the sentiment there. What are you seeing? I mean, we've been talking about this debacle all morning. The New York Post calls it Des Moines, D-U-H, duh, Democrats in chaos as the Iowa caucus implodes because they don't know who won.
Right. What an unmitigated disaster for the Democrats here in Des Moines. And look, at the caucus I went to for President Trump last night, there was incredible enthusiasm. There were a lot of people. I went to 7 different caucus sites, all in a high school. And look, I mean, it was just packed. There were some young kids in there, too, that were just watching democracy in action. They really, really appreciate what the president's done over the last 4 years. And then you contrast that with literally you see candidates on the Democrat side giving victory speeches when they have absolutely no idea how they did. Poor Joe Biden. I mean, it's like nobody even John Kerry was here the other day talking about, as a surrogate for Biden, trying to talk himself into running. You know, what a disaster for the Democrats. And as President Trump tweeted out, Donald Trump is the clear winner of the Iowa caucuses. And of course, look, tonight's State of the Union, he has got a great story to tell about the work he's done to get the country back on track. And you contrast that with a group of people who can't even create a website, an app to send results in for a caucus. This is basic stuff, just like they failed on the Obamacare website. They weren't able to get this right either on the Democrat side. And they want to run the country after what this president's done to turn it around. Again, a really sharp contrast. Maybe we'll hear about it more tonight at the State of the Union.
Well, what does it feel like in terms of who's winning on the Democrat side? Because I know that the establishment does not want Bernie Sanders to win. There is speculation that maybe he is winning. But, well, of course, we won't know, and maybe it gets buried by the President's State of the Union, which I'm going to ask you about in a moment. But do you have any sense of who's most popular there on the ground? On the Democrat side?
Yeah, you definitely feel on the Democrat side the momentum for Bernie Sanders, and it's real. You know, and I think a lot of people are speculating because they felt like it was rigged against Bernie 4 years ago for Hillary. And right. Just coincidentally, Maria, you can't make this up, it was former Hillary Clinton staffers who developed the website. A lot of people are going, wait a minute. If Joe Biden was going to win Iowa, do you really think this app would have crashed? So, I mean, look, that's their problem for them to figure out. But again, it shows the country. They can't even get an app to take your order right. I mean, if this was like a food website, you'd die of starvation. It's really embarrassing.
So let me turn to the impeachment trial, Congressman, because, you know, the president is expected to be acquitted by the Senate tomorrow after weeks of arguments. But that is going to come one day after his State of the Union. You know, Steve Bannon on my show this weekend on Sunday said, I could see the headlines already. The New York Times reporting, you know, the president gives his State of the Union in a cloud of uncertainty. So it's this is not over yet, and the president needs to still deal with the attacks on him ahead of this impeachment trial conclusion.
Yeah, well, and you listen to Speaker Pelosi and Adam Schiff and all these other impeachment hoax fanatics. They're going to try to impeach him again, maybe. They're leaving that door open because, first of all, there is such a disaster on the Democrat side. Do you really think they'd want to be talking about impeachment if they were proud of their field of candidates to run against him? So, look, he's going to be acquitted. He will, by the way, be only the second president in history to be acquitted with a majority vote in the Senate. Andrew Johnson was almost removed from office, literally just 1 vote away, whereas Donald Trump will be acquitted by an overwhelming majority vote. And I think that shows that the country's fed up with what the Democrats are doing. It's personal vendetta. They want to see our Congress working to lower drug prices, to get an infrastructure bill to secure our border. That's what they'd like us to work on instead of what Pelosi's done for this last year, wasting her majority on this obsession with impeaching the president because a radical left base is still angry that he won the 2016 election.
So is that what the president's going to focus on tonight? We're on countdown mode for the State of the Union. The president is set to promote, quote, the great American comeback during this annual speech. This will be his 3rd State of the Union. He's been touting a strong economy, an even stronger nation. That's what we're expecting tonight. What as far as you know, will be the focus of tonight's State of the Union?
I think, Marie, you're going to hear President Trump talk about the optimism of the country, how great things are going for families that were struggling. For 8 years, You had millions of people that gave up on the American dream because it wasn't out there for so many people. We had lost our middle class in this country, and it's coming back. It's coming back because of the policies and the hard work of President Trump. What we were able to do working with him on cutting taxes, what the president's done getting regulations under control, focusing on building our military. Look, I was at the White House last week when we signed the USMCA deal. How many times had you and I talked about USMCA? If Speaker Pelosi would just put it on the floor, it would pass overwhelmingly. And she sat on that thing for 6 months because she didn't want him to get a victory. Well, it's not only a major victory for President Trump, it's a major victory for American workers. Here in Iowa, what farmers are going to benefit from, all over the country.
Right.
And so it's finally law now because President Trump has worked. And so he's got a great story to tell about while they're, and I think, again, it is a real important juxtaposition. While they're so fixated with this political obsession of impeaching him, he's just focused on working for the hardworking families of this country who elected him to go out there and deliver on the promises that he's followed through on.
Yeah,
so he's got a great story to tell. The country's doing great.
Is the president going to have to come up with something to offset the weakness around coronavirus? I mean, when I interviewed the president in Davos, he said he was working on a tax cut plan for the middle class, not just keeping the tax cuts permanent, but also cutting taxes. Now we see that this coronavirus is spreading, and I'm worried about inventories, about a bottleneck, about companies not being able to get their components from China because all the factories are shut down. That's going to hit earnings and certainly the economy and the market. So do you feel that the president needs to come up with some boost in the economy to offset what's coming from coronavirus?
Oh, well, look, the president has been on top of this. And what you talked about, he's been calling for a tax cuts 2.0 for a long time now. I know Kevin Brady was the chair of the Ways and Means Committee who wrote the tax cuts bill with the president. They've talked a lot about things that we can do to get another round, like you said.
Okay.
Making the tax cuts permanent is important to remove that uncertainty.
Right.
But then going even further, especially for our entry-level workers, for our middle class that's just coming back. We've got a lot of growth opportunities still out there.
All right. Well, I know that the wages on the bottom have been among the better performers anyway. It's good to see you, Congressman Steve Scalise. Thank you so much, sir.